Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. We had our day planned, but other things got in the way and all of our plans were canceled. So that gives me an extra day for canning. Now I'm going to be canning French fries today. Here is the box that it's the name of the canner. I don't know if you can see it or not. Thick and Thin French fry maker. I got it in the box, brand new, from the Goodwill, and it was $4.99. So I'm going to try it out today. Oh, sorry, it was $3.49. Sorry, even better deal. So for those of you that are just hopping on the channel, I'm Pam from Old Hippie Homesteaders, and I want to welcome you to our channel. Thank you for following and liking and subscribing. We just love it. We just absolutely love it. So today I'm going to be canning French fries. Now everybody's like, can't you just buy them at the store and put them in your freezer? No, you know me, I can't. So it's fall, well, turning fall up here. It's getting real chilly. Got my sweatshirt on and my sweatpants. So during this time of year, all through winter, we hardly have any power, which is fine. We don't care. So I can a lot of things. Now, a lot of you are going to be going, oh my gosh, how is she canning that? That is crazy. I'm not going to be using any water in the jars. This is butter. There's a pat of butter in each jar. This is called dry canning, and it's fairly new, a couple years old. I do this with French fries, potatoes, chunks of potatoes, and I also do it with carrots. And the reason that I tried this my whole life, I've canned with water. And now I started getting really furious when I would want my pumpkin, and I would get it and it would just be a blob. I just can't stand it. I can't. And the potatoes, when we canned our potatoes in water or broth, they were terrible. You couldn't fry them. They had an awful taste. They were mush. They were just mush glue pile. It was awful. So I started seeing people on Instagram dry canning their potatoes, and I thought, I'll give it a shot. So I got a hold of the person that had the page. She talked me through it, and I will never ever use water again for canning my carrots or my potatoes. They turned out beautifully, absolutely beautifully. Firm. I didn't take the peel off. You can leave the peel on. I don't can with russet potatoes. I prefer canning with the yellow potato or the red potato. So when we did our first quart of potatoes, chunks of potatoes with no water, I threw them in my air fryer. Off the chart, perfect. I kid you not. I mean, if they didn't turn out, I would tell you. So today we're going to be doing that same exact thing. You can either make them into French fries or you can leave them chunked. Either way. But the reason I like to do the fries is, first of all, we don't have a lot of freezer space. We use it for our meat. And if we're out of power, I don't want to have to run a generator for 4 freezers. I try and downsize them this time of year. I try to I go through all my fruits and my berries and strawberries. I go through the freezers. I get all that stuff out this time of year. I turn it into juice or jam or jelly. I try to downsize 4 freezers down to 2 so we can control them better with generator power. So I'm going to be doing the French fries. So let me tell you really quick. You put a pat of butter. You can also add salt. Put a pat of butter in the jar. Now I'm not going to be peeling these. If you want to peel your potatoes, go ahead. But the yellow ones, I just wash them really well. So let me tell you really quick how I do this. I wash them off, and then I cut them and I take them and I set them in a large bowl, the biggest bowl or the biggest pan you have, of cold water. And I leave them in that bowl. And you're going to notice that when they're in that bowl, the water's going to look a little cloudy. That's all the starch. You want to get all that out of your potatoes. So I drain my potatoes about 3 times. Sometimes I only do it twice because there's not that much starch. But, you know, for the average, you have to drain the water out 3 times. So let me get started with this and let me show you, you know, how it's going to go. And I can't wait because we're going to be having them tonight for dinner. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, so the potatoes, they're about that big. See all the slices? Now I'm just going to put them in water. See that? Beautiful French fries. This one's a little big, so I'm going to cut it in half. Look at that. Perfect. See that? And they're soaking in the water. So let me get the rest of these done. Okay, so if you have a big French fry cutter, you might not have to cut them in half, but look at that. Oh, beautiful. Now this one has holes in it, so I can hang it on the wall. I don't want to do that. I prefer doing it right here on the cutting board. I can already see starch coming in the water. Okay. You see that? See that cloudy water? See how cloudy that is? Let me get you a little closer. See how cloudy that is? That's all starch. So you want your water to be clear. The more clear the water, the better the potatoes will turn out. Okay, so I'm going to be emptying this and filling it again. I'll be right back when I'm finished soaking the potatoes. Okay, so this is the 3rd batch of water. Now, I like to leave my potatoes soaking in the water about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay? So this is the 3rd bowl, and you can see how clear it is compared to the first bowl that I did. So now, all I'm going to be doing is taking them out and putting them in the jars. Okay, so I've got my butter in the jar. You just kind of shake them off. If there's some little stragglers in there, throw those out. This is all you do. Now, I'm not going to add salt to these. I add the salt before they start cooking. But if you guys want to add your salt, add the salt to the jar before you put the potatoes in. Okay, that's a nice amount right there. Okay. That one needs a little bit more butter. Let me grab some butter here. And yes, this is my butter. I make my own butter. See that? That's a nice batch right there for the two of us. Now, if all you have is the brown or the red potatoes, that's okay. Just because I don't use the brown doesn't mean you don't have to not use them. Do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to save this water to soak more in. Now, all my men that live out here can't wait for me to make French fries. They always want 2 or 3 quarts. Okay, so those are done right there. I'm going to be getting some more jars out of the dishwasher, and I will bring you back when I'm done with all the potatoes. I think I have about another 10 or 12 pounds of potatoes, and I'll bring you back then. Now, the reason I like yellow potatoes is because they have the least amount of starch. Brown potatoes have the most, and yellow have the least. So if you've ever canned potatoes before in water, and you've gone and looked at them on your shelf, and you see this like white glue-like stuff setting at the bottom, that's all the starch that you did not get out of your potatoes. Those aren't very appealing. Okay, so all of these are going to be going into the pressure canner. They have to be pressure canned. And they're going to be pressure canned for 40 minutes because they're quarts. Now, I have a double stacker pressure canner, but I don't feel comfortable double stacking the quarts. I double stack the pints, but not the quarts. And another thing, I don't know the scientific reason behind the butter. I guess I should look into it. But everything I've read and all of the people that do this put in a pat of butter, which is about, maybe a tablespoon or less. So I just always add butter. Now, the reason I tell you to add the salt before you put in the French fries is because if you add salt and just sprinkle it on top, that's where it's going to stay. Because remember, there's no water in this to swirl it around. So put your salt on the bottom when you add your butter, if you want to put your salt in. Like I said, I do mine when I put them in the air fryer or after I deep fry them. These stay together absolutely beautifully, just beautifully. Not like the ones that are pressure canned in water. Those are... The first time I tried the oven canned potatoes, we did the big chunks. We opened up a can of the dry, and then I went in the pantry and I got a jar that had the liquid. And my husband told me, don't you ever make potatoes again with the liquid in them. They are awful. When you taste these, this is just a raw, fresh, and they will be cooked because they're pressure canned. So he said, don't ever do the water again. So I'm going to be putting them in the pressure canner, and I will bring you guys back when they're all done. But remember, 40 minutes for the quarts, guys. All finished, perfectly done.